The hall was full of light. Shiny metal walls reflected every color of every alien inside. Tall ones, short ones, some with wings, some with tails. All gathered for the Galactic Union's peace. It happened once every 10 years, and this time, Earth was the special guest. A soft sound echoed through the room. Footsteps, calm, measured. A single human walked into the hall. She wore a white uniform and a golden badge that said Earth Peacekeeper Corps. Her name was Commander Rhea Langford. Aliens watched her with wide eyes. Some smiled, others whispered. "She's one of them," said a green-skinned trader. "From the blue planet?" "Humans," another hissed. "They don't even carry weapons." No one laughed. Not anymore. The human Rhea reached the center stage. Her voice was soft but clear. "We come in peace," she said. "We always have." A few aliens clapped. A few looked away. Everyone knew Earth had stopped fighting a long time ago. No more wars, no more weapons. Just peacekeepers. People trained to settle problems with words, not bullets. Earth had sent peacekeepers to over 300 alien worlds. They had helped stop pirate wars, mining disputes, and even a civil war on Zelkarn. Humans were now seen as the calm ones, the soft ones, the weak ones. But no one said that last part out loud. As the meeting ended, Rhea stepped into her ship. Shh. Looked out the window. Stars blinked back. She whispered, "It's too quiet." Shadows in the dark, far away. A dusty part of the galaxy, Sector 3. Something terrible happened. A small human colony named Juno Base had gone silent. It was home to scientists, farmers, and teachers. People who had never even held a gun. No one knew why their signals stopped. The Galactic Union didn't send help, but someone else did. The attack cameras caught flashes of the event. Ships shaped like claws broke through the sky. They rained fire. The colony burned. The humans tried to hide, tried to run, didn't matter. One message got out. A weak signal, a broken voice. "This is Juno Base. We are under attack." No warning, they betrayed. Then silence. No more messages. No more life. The Union called it a communications error. Earth called it a tragedy. But Commander Rhea called it something else. A lie. The survivor Rhea watched the footage in a dark room. Her eyes didn't blink. Her jaw tightened. She knew those people. She had trained them. Some were her friends. One had been like a sister, the official report said. No one survived. That wasn't true. Rhea had been there. She had seen it. She had crawled out of the fire, bleeding, burned, angry, but she didn't go home. She didn't report to Earth. She vanished. The gloves come off 6 months passed in the black of space. On a cold asteroid with no name, a small figure stood alone. A fire crackled beside her. Metal tools lay scattered around. Rhea wasn't wearing her peacekeeper uniform anymore. She wore black, and on the ground in front of her were 2 metal gloves. Not armor, not weapons. Just gloves. Simple, strong, and handmade. She slid them on. Click. The voice was low. Calm, cold. "They wanted to test us," she said. "They're about to get their answer. A ghost begins to hunt. The first sign came when a trading ship went missing. It was found days later, floating, empty, no crew. No damage, just one thing on the wall scratched into metal. Peace. Then a military outpost went dark. Then a fuel depot exploded in deep space. No one saw it happen, but the survivors. The ones who barely escaped said they heard a voice. In the shadows, a woman's voice. She didn't scream. She whispered, 'You should not have touched Juno.' Alien panic, the Galactic Union began to worry. Who was behind the attacks? Some said pirates, others said an old AI gone rogue. But one general, old and wise, whispered the truth. 'It's her,' he said. 'The human, the peacekeeper, the one from Juno.' The others laughed. 'She's one person. She has no army. She's not even a soldier.' But the attacks continued. One by one. Fast. Silent. Deadly. Earth stays silent. Strangely, Earth said nothing. No protests, no anger, no threats, just silence. Like they were watching. Like they already knew. The aliens became nervous. Had Earth sent her? Was she acting alone? What if this was Earth's real face? The past comes back on her ship, a stolen freighter renamed Whisper. Rhea opened an old box. Inside was a photo, smiling faces, Juno base, people laughing, children waving. She touched it gently. Then she looked at the map on the screen. Next target marked. The Council Armory on Exxon Prime. She set the course. Final scene cliffhanger. In the Galactic Union's main council hall, leaders argued. "This is getting out of hand," one shouted. "She must be stopped. She's one human," another yelled. "One." A guard ran in. He looked pale. "Sirs, new message just came in. It's a video." They turned to the screen. A dark hallway smoked footsteps. A figure walking slowly. Then her face, Rhea, eyes cold, his voice calm. "You told us to trust you." Pause. "You smiled while planning our death." Pause. "You wanted to see what happens when a peacekeeper stops being peaceful." She held up her metal gloves. "Now you'll learn." Static. A black asteroid spun slowly in deep space. It had no name. No lights. No air. Just rock and shadows. But deep inside, past broken tunnels and long-dead mining drills. There was movement. In a small metal room, lit by firelight, Rhea Langford sat. Alone. She wasn't sleeping. She was listening. A voice in the dark crackling. Speakers played alien voices. "We found another depot destroyed. No survivors. Same symbol left behind. Two gloves drawn in ash. She never speaks. Just kills." The voices grew nervous. She used to be one of us, a peacekeeper. Now they said her name with fear. Rhea. Dodd. The gloves returned on the table, sat her gloves. Metal. Silent. Strong. Rhea picked them up slowly, slid them over her hands. Click. She stood. Not with anger, not with hate. With purpose. "They burned Juno," she said. "They broke the peace. Now I'll break something too." No orders. No backup. No mercy. Rhea didn't work for Earth. Anymore. She had no army, no fleet. But she had knowledge. She had training. And she had silence. A silence she used like a blade. Her ship, Whisper, moved between shadows. No one saw it. No one heard it. Until it was too late. Target. Nebrix Data Tower. Her next stop was the Nebrix Data Tower, a tall silver building on a cold moon. It held the Union's military records, secret troop movements, weapons blueprints, attack orders, including one stamped. Months ago, Operation Glassfill, terminate Juno base, make it look like pirates. Rhea read it twice. Then she erased it, not just from the moon's system, but from the Union's central records. And in its place, she left a message. "You wanted peace to look weak. Now you'll learn what silence can do." Whisper's turn. Two Ferellian news channels buzzed. "Unknown attacker strikes again, this time at Nebrix. Authorities fear it may be the same rogue human." She never leaves survivors. Only silence. In council chambers, leaders yelled, "She must be stopped. We need a bounty on her head. Triple it." But bounty hunters returned. "With broken ships and frightened eyes, she doesn't fight like a human," one said. "She moves like shadow," another whispered. "She doesn't want to win. She wants them to feel what Juno felt." Earth still says nothing. Reporters begged Earth for answers. "Is she one of yours? Is she acting under orders?" The Earth Council responded only once, a short message, one sentence. "Peacekeepers act in peace, and they stop, they are. No longer ours, no denial, it's no support. Just cold truth." Inside the silence, back in her ship, Rhea sat by the old photo again, the one from Juno. Bays. She stared at it for a long time. She remembered the girl who gave her a flower on her last visit. You really a peacekeeper? The girl had asked. Rhea had smiled. Yes, then no one will hurt us, right? She hadn't answered. She hadn't known. The night station, her next target, was different. It wasn't a base, it wasn't a ship. It was a place where rich alien leaders met in secret, the night station. Floating in space, hidden from maps, protected by elite guards. There, they laughed, drank, celebrated the success of Operation Glassfill. They didn't know she was already inside. One by one, the lights went out. One by one, the guards vanished. And in the final chamber, the last alien saw her. He begged, I didn't fire the order. I only agreed. Rhea's voice was calm. So did I. I agreed to peace. Then silence. The Union cracks, the Galactic Union began to fracture. Members argued. She's not just fighting. She's proving a point. She wants the galaxy to know. Humans aren't weak. They were being kind. One leader stood up and shouted, We didn't just break peace. We trained our own destroyer. Secret conversation on Earth. To human. Generals met in a quiet room. She's getting stronger, one said. She's making a statement, said the other. Every target is connected. She's showing us what happens when we're betrayed. Should we stop her? Pause. No. Let the galaxy learn. Final scene cliffhanger on a silent planet named Veltrac. Full alien army waited 500 soldiers, drones, defense turrets, war machines. They had one job, stop Rhea Langford. The commander smiled. She's one woman. She won't dare come here. Just then, the lights flickered. The commander turned to the screen. It showed a single message. I only ever asked for peace. Now I'm asking for your attention. The camera turned to the outside wall. One figure stood in the dust. Rhea, no backup. No fear. She lifted her gloves and walked toward them. The stars were quiet again. The dust from Veltrac had settled. The soldiers had left. The base was empty, but the galaxy wasn't calm. Everyone had seen what happened. Everyone had heard her voice. And now, everyone was asking the same question. Is this what Earth really wanted? The broadcast that wasn't in the middle of the night? Across thousands of systems, every Galactic Union screen suddenly blinked. Black. Then white words appeared. We tried peace. Then a symbol. 2 metal gloves. Then silence. No voice. No name. No threat. Just the message Earth didn't send, because it didn't have to. Panic in the halls inside the Galactic Union Council. Voices shouted over each other. She's hacking our broadcasts now? She could be anywhere? She's alone. A quiet alien leader stood up. Her eyes were tired. Maybe she is alone, she said, but she's not silent. And silence can be louder than war. The room went quiet. The ghost behind the curtain Rhea sat inside her ship, the whisper floating near a dead moon. Her gloves were on the table. Single candle burned beside them. She didn't sleep. She read reports, watched enemy movements, listened to secret channels. She was planning her next move. But first, she needed the truth. Not from soldiers, not from the Union, but from Earth. Calling home, she opened a secure channel. Only a few people on Earth had access. One of them was General Mako, her former commander. The screen blinked. His face appeared. He didn't look surprised. Rhea, he said softly. I knew this day would come. Her voice was calm. Did you know about Juno? Yes. You let it happen? No, but we watched. And we waited. She frowned. You didn't stop them? He sighed. We wanted to see what the galaxy would do. What the Union really thought of us. She stared at him. You used us. He nodded once. And now we know the truth. The truth Earth hides. Rhea leaned back in her seat. The truth is, she said, Earth never stopped making weapons. It just hid them. General Mako didn't deny it. We kept the image of peace, he said. But we trained peacekeepers for war. Rhea's hands curled into fists. We believed in peace. He looked down. And now, you've become something more powerful than any army. The broken Union across the galaxy, More Union systems fell into chaos. Small planets refused orders. Aliens protested. No more lies, no more secret attacks. Rhea showed us the truth. Some even painted her symbol 2 gloves on walls and ships. Others started calling her the voice of Juno. The Council's plan the Union couldn't stay quiet anymore. In a secret meeting, they decided, send an assassin. Quiet, fast, not a war, a knife. Her name was Zira, a cold, blue-skinned killer. Fast, deadly, silent, trained to end problems without leaving a trace. Her mission: find Rhea, end her. The assassins hunt Zira, tracked the Whisper across dead systems and cold moons. She studied Rhea's battles, her habits, her messages. She believes in something, Zira whispered. That's her weakness. She found the next likely target, the Black Archive, a secret Union vault holding every message. Attack plan. And lie. She waited there, silent, invisible. Rhea walks in. Rhea didn't sneak. She walked through the front door. Alarms went off. Turrets aimed. Then, powered down, Rhea had already hacked them. She moved through halls of steel and darkness. The floor echoed under her boots, but she wasn't alone. Gloves versus Bladashira dropped from the ceiling, 2 long, curved knives in her hands. No words? She asked. Rhea shook her head. Words come after. They fought fast, brutal, quiet. Blades, fused gloves. Steel versus strength. Both were trained, both were broken inside. But Rhea had something else. She had a reason. She grabbed Zira's wrist, twisted, disarmed her, and pinned her to the wall. Zira didn't scream, she just asked why. Rhea looked her in the eye, for Juno, for truth. For everyone who thinks peace is weakness, she spares her. Rhea let go. Zira collapsed to the floor. She didn't move. Rhea walked to the central vault, pulled a data drive inside it. The real orders, proof the Union betrayed Earth. Proof they started the war on purpose. She left a copy in Zira's hand. Give them this, Rhea said. If you still care about anything. Then she disappeared. Back on Earth, a private signal reached General Mako. He opened the message. One image. The Union's war order, stamped and signed. His eyes narrowed. She's done it, he whispered. A young officer beside him asked, Sir, what now? General Mako turned to the window. Now, we show the galaxy what a real peacekeeper can do. The sky over Veltrack turned orange. Dust storms howled. Machines beeped. Soldiers stood in lines, ready. They were not afraid. They were angry. 500 elite fighters. 10 heavy tanks. 4 defense drones. 1 orbital cannon and 1 small woman was walking. Toward them, the calm before Fire Commander Vex, leader of Veltrack Base, watched from the control tower. She's just one human, he muttered. His officer shook his head. She's the one. Vex laughed. She's a ghost story. A rebel? A joke. But deep inside, he wasn't sure anymore. Outside, Rhea kept walking. No ship, no backup. Just her black suit and her gloves first. Strike the soldiers opened fire. Lasers, bullets, rockets. The dust exploded with light. The ground, when the smoke cleared. No body, no blood, just silence. Then, a flash. Behind one of the tanks, spark. Boom. The tank flipped over, screaming. She was inside the line now. She had dodged it all. The sound of Furia moved fast, quiet. No wasted movement. Her gloves sparked with energy, short bursts. Not weapons, just tools. She had modified to disable machines and knock out soldiers. She didn't kill unless she had to, but she wasn't here to be soft-breaking. Their pride inside the command room, alarms rang. She's disabling everything. One officer shouted, Our drones won't fly. The auto turrets are off. Commander Vex slammed his fist. Send in the warbots. Big machines, 5 meters tall, marched out. Their metal legs shook the ground, but Rhea had planned for them. She ducked under one, climbed up its leg, pulled a cord, and dropped a small bomb inside its armor. Boom. It fell like a tree. She speaks the Soldiers started. Retreating, she didn't chase. She picked up a radio. Her voice came through all their helmets.com. Clear. Juno Base had no soldiers. Juno Base had no weapons. Now I do. The silence after her words was louder than their guns. The world watches. Across the galaxy, broadcasts lit up. Veltrack under attack by one human. Union forces losing to a peacekeeper turned warrior. Is this war or justice? Some alien citizens cheered. She's fighting for truth. She's showing what peacekeepers really are. But others were scared. If Earth trained her, what else are they hiding? Vex tries to run commander. Vex ordered his ship. Get me out of here. He ran to the landing pad, but the engines were on fire. A single figure stood there. Rhea face dirty, clothes torn, still standing. Vex tried to pull a gun. She knocked it away. He begged. I only followed orders. My eyes didn't blink. I was trained to keep peace. But you trained me better. You trained me with betrayal. She raised her glove. Now I'm returning the lesson. What she left behind, Rhea didn't kill Vex. She tied him up, left him outside with a message pinned to his chest. He followed orders. So did I. The galaxy decides who was right. Beside him, flowered, the same kind that grew on Juno Base. A message sent, she walked back to her ship, the whisper, looked at the sky. She turned on her radio. Every Union station heard her voice. I will stop when the truth is told. I will stop when peace means something again. Until then, I am the storm you created. Inside Earth's council, in a quiet room under Earth's surface, high-ranking humans watched the footage. They didn't speak for a long time. Then one said, she's becoming a symbol. Another added, not just of revenge, of power, of truth. A final voice spoke. Let her keep going. Final scene, cliffhanger somewhere deep in space, in a secret Union base. Group of alien commanders met. One of them held a new photo. Rhea, walking. Through fire again, they whispered. She's not just a soldier. She's a lesson. They all turned to a black screen. On it, Earth's emblem glowed. Someone finally asked, what if Earth never needed peace? And far away, Rhea smiled. The Galactic Union Council chamber was quiet, not calm, not peaceful, scared. For the first time in 200 years, the leaders were not speaking, were listening. A large screen in the center of the room showed a single document. The Union secret. Order to destroy Juno Base. Signed, stamped. Real. Rhea had found it, and now the whole galaxy had seen it. The fear begins. One alien leader stood up. She's just a human, he said, voice shaking. Just one, another shouted. She broke into the archive. She's tearing us apart. An older voice, calm but cold, said, no, we did that to ourselves. The people turn across the galaxy. Protests spread. Aliens marched in the streets of glowing cities. Farmers on dusty planets refused to pay taxes. Miners stopped working. They waved signs with two metal gloves painted on them. We trust Rhea. Truth over power. No more silence. For the first time, people were no longer afraid of the Union. They were afraid of the truth. The Council's broken planine, a dark room, hidden below the main chambers, top Union generals argued. We must end her before she brings down everything. She has no army. She doesn't need one. She has belief. They built a new plan. Not an assassin. Not a fleet. A message. One that would destroy her. Image. The Union's lie. They created a fake video in it. Rhea was shown attacking peaceful alien towns, setting fires, hurting children. They made her look like a monster. Then they released it galaxy-wide. The video spread in minutes, and for a moment, people believed it. For a moment, they doubted her. But truth fights back. Then something happened. Zara, assassin Rhea had spared, released the real footage. The battle between them. The files from the Black Archive. The truth Rhea gave her. The galaxy watched again, and now they knew who was lying. The Union's video was fake. Zara, once a Union agent, now stood beside the symbol of the gloves. She said just one line. She had every reason to kill me. She didn't. A new name, now they called Rhea, something new. Not Peacekeeper, not Ghost, not Voice. They called her the Reckoner, the one who brings balance. It's the one who answers betrayal with truth. Inside the whisper, Rhea sat alone, watching stars move past. She didn't smile. She didn't rest. She opened a small box. Inside was a chip. She slid it into the console. A face appeared. General Mako. He looked proud. A little sad. "You've done more than we expected," he said. "The Union is cracking." She looked away. "Good," he nodded. "It's time to finish it." "How?" "Don't fire. We speak." Rhea raised her eyebrows. "We tell them what peace really means." The speech they couldn't stop. Rhea's next message didn't come through back channels. She didn't hack screens. She walked into the center of the Galactic Union's main hall, alone. No weapons, no armor, just her gloves and a small device in her hand. Alarms rang. Guards raised weapons, but no one fired. She stood before the Union leaders. "Play this," she said. They hesitated. She dropped the device had activated by itself, and her voice filled every room, every planet, every screen in the galaxy. "You told us peace was a dream. We believed you. You told us war was over. We believed you." You smiled, signed papers, gave us awards, and sent fleets behind our backs. You destroyed Juno. You tried to erase it. Now I give you one last chance to listen. This is not war. It's memory. This is not revenge. This is a lesson. We wanted to live beside you. You taught us to walk over you. But peace is not weakness. Peace is a warning, and I am the warning. The leaders break. One leader, shaking, stood up. "What do you want?" Rhea looked around. "I want nothing." She turned to leave. "You took everything already." The aftershock after she walked out, no one moved. Not for hours. The guards didn't chase her. The leaders didn't argue. The galaxy watched and waited, because now they weren't wondering if Rhea would strike again. They were wondering who else might stand with her on a backwater planet far from Union control. A group of young aliens sat in a circle. They watched her speech again. One of them stood. She made them listen. Another nodded. Shouldn't even shoot. A third looked up. "We don't need war. We need gloves." One tossed a medal. "Pipe onto the table. We build our own, somewhere across the stars." Rhea smiled just a little. 100 warships circled the Galactic Union capital. They didn't fire, they didn't send warnings, they just appeared, without a sound. Each ship carried a symbol, 2 metal gloves, no flag, no name, no message, until one word came through every channel. "Listen." Silence over power inside the Union control tower. Panic spread. "Are those Earth ships? No one detected them? They're just sitting there?" General barked. "Open communication now." But the ships didn't respond. They just waited. No weapons armed. No shields raised. No sound. Just watching old plans fall apart. The Union Council gathered in emergency. "The humans are bluffing," one leader said. "They haven't fired a shot." "They never do," another replied. "And that's what scares me." Screen turned on. A single sentence appeared. "You taught us peace is weakness. Now see what strength looks like without shouting." They recognized the style. It was Rhea. But it wasn't just her now. This message came from Earth. Back on Earth, the skies above Earth were calm. No war, no panic, just silence. Inside the Earth's defense hall, General Mako stood before a wall of screens. He finally spoke. "The galaxy believed we were soft. We never were. We chose peace not because we were afraid, but because we didn't need fear to win." Around him stood other leaders. Some were soldiers, some were diplomats. Had waited a long time now. They agreed it was time to speak. The broadcast every planet, every station, every ship, each screen went black and bright. A blue planet appeared. Earth, a calm voice spoke. Not angry, not proud, just clear. We never stopped watching. We saw Juno fall. We saw you cheer, and we saw one of our own rise. You called her rogue. We called her a mirror. You saw revenge. We saw memory. You called us peacekeepers. You forgot that keeping peace means stopping those who break it. Now we remember. Reactions across the stars on a prison planet, inmates wept. On a mining moon, workers cheered. Rich towers, elites locked their doors. Even on Union warships, some soldiers stood still, their hands shaking. Did we ever really know humans? Someone asked. No, came the answer. We only knew their kindness. Ria's return inside her ship, the whisper. Ria watched the broadcast. Her eyes didn't move. Her face stayed hard, but her hands trembled slightly. She had been alone for so long now. Earth was with her. A small light blinked an incoming call. She answered. General Mako's face appeared. It's time, he said. She nodded. The final Listria pulled up a screen of names. Union generals, council traitors. Leaders who signed Juno's death. One by one she marked them. Red lines across their faces. They were never going to confess, she said. Mako nodded. We don't need confessions. We need remembrance. Ria looked at her gloves. Then let's remind them. Inside the Union Palace 3 days later, the doors to the Union Palace burst open. Guards ran forward and froze. Ria walked in, not alone. Behind her came peacekeepers. Humans. Aliens. Even former Union soldiers. They weren't armed for war. They carried data drives, truths, and records. Evidence, proof, memories. The fall of power. They didn't fire a shot. They showed the galaxy what the Union had hidden for decades. Child labor on mining moons. Secret weapons sent to peaceful worlds. Dead planets blamed on pirates. The truth fell like thunder. No escape, no spin, no lies left. Ria's final words to the council standing before the remaining leaders. Ria said, I begged for peace. You called me weak. I asked for justice. You said it wasn't your problem. Now I've stopped asking. One leader whispered, So what now? She turned. I leave you with truth. She pointed to the galaxy map behind them. Now let's see what you do with it. After the storm, the Union didn't end that day. But it changed. New voices entered the halls. Old powers stepped down. Laws were rewritten, and in every city, on every screen, the people asked, What does Earth want now? Earth sent one more message, peace, but this time on our terms. Ria stood on a cliff on a quiet moon. Behind her, a field of flowers, the same ones from Juno Base. A child ran up to her. Are you really the Reckoner? She smiled slightly. No, I'm just someone who remembered too much. The child handed her a drawing to gloves, holding a flower. Ria took it gently, and finally, for the first time in years, she smiled for real. The chamber door slammed shut behind her. The light inside flickered. Ria stood alone in the war room of the Union's last stronghold, a fortress deep beneath the frozen surface of Planet Go, RUUN-9. Around her sat the final group of Union. Cold, silent, watching her. But their hands were near their weapons. Ria didn't flinch. She wasn't wearing her armor. She wasn't wearing her gloves. She had walked in. Barehanded. Why she came without them. She raised her hands slowly. I'm not here to fight, they laughed. You came to lecture? We aren't protesters. We're not afraid of words. Ria looked around the room. I didn't come to speak either. She stepped forward. I came to see which of you are ready to listen. The weight of her name, one of the older leaders, General Racker, narrowed his eyes. You're a symbol. Now, a shadow, a flag for fools. He stood. I've fought in 10 wars. I've crushed 4 uprisings. I'll crush this one too. Ria looked him in the eyes, then crushed me. The room went quiet. Racker smirked and stepped down toward her. No more gloves. The fight was fast. No tech, no tricks, just bare hands. He struck first. She dodged, grabbed his arm, flipped him to the floor. His second punch blocked, third countered. He landed hard. Ria stepped back. not breathing hard, not gloating, just done. "I'm not here to destroy you," she said, "but I will not let you lie anymore." She looked down at her hands. "I wore gloves to protect others. Now I take them off to protect what matters." One leader, Niels A., younger council member, stepped forward, eyes full of guilt, voice shaking. "I signed the order for Juno. I thought it was just another assignment. I didn't know what it really meant." He dropped to his knees. "I can't undo it, but I won't serve these liars anymore." Rhea said nothing. She just reached out and helped him stand the chain reaction in the next hours. The stronghold changed. Doors opened. Files were unlocked. Prisoners were freed. The truth flowed like water. Peacekeepers walked in. Scientists, diplomats, even former Union soldiers who had seen too much. The war room was no longer a place of fear. It became a place of rebuilding. Earth watches quietly back on Earth. General Mako watched the reports come in. "She did it," an officer whispered. Mako didn't smile. He simply said, "She made peace mean something again." What the galaxy saw across 1,000 worlds, people watched the footage of Rhea standing unarmed. In front of those who had once tried to erase her, they didn't see a soldier. They didn't see a hero. They saw a warning and a promise. A new word began to spread. "The gloves are off," and with it, a new phrase. "Justice doesn't need armor." Rhea's walk through the ruins later. Rhea returned to Juno's remains. The ground was cracked.
Ash storm
Covered the soil. But now, green sprouts poked through the dust. She knelt down, pulled something from the dirt. A child's toy. She cleaned it gently, held it to her chest. Behind her, others had come. Survivors, children, builders. They began setting up tents, machines, seeds. The planting Rhea took the first shovel, dug the first hole, planted the first flower. Not a weapon, not a message, just life. Someone behind her whispered, "Is this what victory looks like?" Rhea didn't answer. She just nodded once. The final choice at sunset. A ship arrived. A peaceful Union representative stepped out. He bowed. "Earth has asked us to step down from the council. They want a new structure." Rhea looked at the stars. "And what about me?" He shook his head. "No one wants you to stop. Not now." She thought for a long time, then said, "I never wanted to be followed. I just wanted to be heard." He smiled. "You were." Final scene cliffhanger for Part 8 at night. Rhea stood at the edge of the new Juno base. Lights glowed behind her. Voices laughed. Life was returning. She looked at the stars. Suddenly, her communicator blinked. A warning, unknown signal. Coming from outside known space, she opened the file. A strange message played. The Union was only the beginning. Prepare yourselves. The real war is waking. Rhea narrowed her eyes, then turned to grab her gloves, but paused and smiled. No, not this time. She walked into the darkness, barehanded. The stars above were no longer silent. A strange sound now echoed through every satellite, every com tower. It wasn't a language. It wasn't static. It was a pulse. Boom, boom, boom. Something was coming. And it was older than the Union, older than Earth's place in the stars. It had slept for a long time, but now it had heard the humans speak, and it was awake. The signal deep in Earth's moon command. Scientists stared at the data. One whispered, "This isn't natural." Another shook his head. "It's a countdown." What? They didn't know. But it wasn't from the galaxy. It came from outside, from somewhere. Cold, empty, dark. Rhea reads the stars. Rhea stood on the roof of the new Juno base. She looked up. The sky was peaceful again. But her gut told her that peace had never been the goal. It had always been the warning. She turned on her old glove, the left one. Only the left. A hologram appeared. Galactic map. Red dots blinking. One by one, not enemies, warnings, all pointing. In one direction, the voice in the darkness say message came again through Earth's channels. This time, it spoke. You screamed in silence. You bled without fire. Now we hear you. Now we come. Let us see if your strength is still yours. When No one is watching. The voice wasn't angry, it was curious, like a hunter, testing prey. Earth's council reacts. General Mako stood with Earth's new leaders. We just rebuilt peace, the young diplomat said. Exactly, Mako replied, which is why we protected. The room nodded. No one argued. They all understood. Peace is not the end of war. It is the reason to fight better. The forgotten file zine, the old Union archives. Hidden deep in a locked vault, something strange was found. Files about a race long lost. The deep ones, not demons, not machines, just watchers. They never invaded. They tested. Civilizations that failed their tests were erased. No records. Number. Remains just silence where stars used to be, and now they had seen Earth. Ria's last mission. Ria stood before her ship, the Whisper. It had been repaired. Upgraded people stood behind her. Soldiers, doctors, engineers. All volunteers. Where are you going? The child asked. She bent down to eye level, to the edge. Why? To make sure no one crosses it? To launch as her ship lifted. People across Earth stopped to watch, not in fear, in respect. Ria wasn't leaving to destroy. She was going to speak, but she took one glove this time, and left the other behind. Because Earth's message was clear. We still believe in peace. But now, you know what happens? If you ignore it, out in the black far beyond known space, the Whisper slowed. Lights ahead, cold, sharp, not ships. Not planets, just forms. Floating, watching, waiting. Ria stepped forward. She didn't raise a weapon. She raised her hand, the one without the glove. We came in peace. You taught us silence meant weakness, we learned. Changed. Now we ask, do you speak with fear or with understanding? The air around the ship shimmered. Then something spoke. You passed the first test. Ria didn't smile. She simply said, then give us the next one. Back on Earth, General. Mako watched the sky. We'll wait, he said, even if she never returns. Mako looked at the stars. She's not alone. She never was. Behind him, people were planting flowers again. Children were building small towers. The world wasn't arming itself. It was living, because Earth had learned something the galaxy never expected. Peace isn't what comes after the fight. Peace is the reason we fight at all. Final scene. Far in the dark, Ria walked into a strange chamber alone. She placed her last glove on the floor behind her. Shadows watched. She raised her chin. This is who we are. We are not just humans. We are what comes when peace is broken too many times. We don't scream first. We listen. We don't hit first. We endure. But if we stand forever. Shadows moved closer. One whispered, you remember who you are? Ria nodded. I never forgot. The lights blinked. The screen went dark. The world was cheering. Ria had done it. The war was over. The gloves were off. The galaxy had seen the full strength of Earth. But just before the cameras could focus on her face, Ria vanished. She left no message, no trail, no goodbye. She took nothing with her, except silence. And that silence spread across the stars like a storm no one could see coming. Scene 1. The empty room in the moon base. Ria's room was exactly as she had left it. A single bed. A folded black jacket. One photo of Earth cracked at the corner. The glove she wore in the final battle was gone. Only a note lay on the table. Just one line. This isn't peace. It's quiet before a greater noise. Nobody could explain what it meant. Scene 2. The Council meets world. Leaders gathered. Aliens. Humans. Peace delegates. Military generals. Everyone expected Ria to appear. She didn't. Instead, the chair she once filled sat empty, untouched, almost glowing. Some said it was a statement. Others said it was a warning. Then came the first signal. A deep space satellite caught at coordinates, and a strange energy pulse. Not like any known tech. The signal repeated one word. Follow. Scene 3. the girl who dreamed of silence in a small village on Earth. A girl named Kayla had strange dreams in them. She walked through stars, not ships, not cities, just stars. They spoke to her in Ria's voice. You have what I buried, but you don't need gloves to use it. Kayla was only 17. She had never left Earth. Never. Trained. Never fought. But something inside her began to change. She could hear people's thoughts. She could feel storms before they happened. And every time someone told a lie, she knew. Scene 4. The old soldier speaks back on Mars. Commander Thane, Ria's old squadmate, sat alone in a training field. He hadn't spoken since the final battle, but when he saw the signal, he stood up. He whispered. She didn't run away. She walked ahead. He gathered his old team. Only 3 were left. None of them had powers, but all of them knew what Ria stood for. They decided, go to the coordinates. Not to bring her back, but to understand why she left. Scene. Strange things began to happen. Peace treaties started to break. For no reason, trade routes vanished overnight. Whole planets went dark. No war, no distress calls. Just silence. People thought it was sabotage. Others believed it was a new enemy. But Kayla had another idea. She said, this isn't the enemy. This is the universe, waiting for us to prove we deserve the peace we claim. Nobody believed her until the moon turned red. Scene 6. The blood moon, a strange eclipse, passed over Earth's moon. For exactly 1 hour, it turned deep red, not a natural eclipse. Something was blocking the light. When scientists pointed telescopes into the dark, they saw nothing. But on every screen, across every channel, the same message appeared. She passed her test. Now comes yours, you claim. Peace. Show us. Scene 7. The School of Quiet Kayla was invited to the Earth Diplomatic Center. She said nothing for the first 3 days. On the 4th, she said, you think peace is quiet. It's not. Peace is noise made in control. Ria silenced herself. So, we would finally learn to listen. Council asked what to do next. Kayla replied, start with 1 room. Fill it with your enemies. No guards, no weapons. It's just stories. They laughed until the first enemies sat in that room and left hugging. Scene 8. The real glove deep inside the Martian vault. Ria's second glove was found. It wasn't black like the first. It was white, pure, untouched. It couldn't fire. Couldn't burn. It didn't respond to anger, only to understanding. Kayla placed her hand in it. For a second, the room filled with light, and a voice older than stars spoke from nowhere. One walked ahead. Another stayed behind. Now you walk together not as weapons, but as proof. Final scene. The step forward, Kayla stood at the same spot where Ria once disappeared. The stars above her flickered strangely. A gate opened, not like a ship gate, like space itself peeled back, and from the center, Kayla heard one word, enter. She looked behind her to the old soldiers, to the children watching, to Earth, then forward. Into the unknown. She didn't wear armor. She didn't carry fire. She only carried understanding. She stepped forward and disappeared, just like Ria had, but this time, the silence wasn't empty. It was full of hope. She never came back alone. The stars looked calm that day. To calm at Earth's orbital defense station. Alarms didn't sound. No warnings, no red lights. Just one unknown object appearing silently in deep space. No heat, no engines. Just floating. Toward Earth. It didn't match any known ship design. But the ID code? It matched something from years ago. The Whisper status. Missing Ria's ship had returned. A world. On pause, news spread fast. Across Earth, people stopped what they were doing. Some held their breath. Some held hands. Some held on to old hopes. Was she alive? Was she alone? Or was this trap? The landing, the ship didn't dock at the major ports. It didn't call out. It drifted gently through Earth's sky and landed quietly in the ruins of old Juno base, now a green Living valley filled with trees, flowers, and memories, no weapons aimed at it. No one stopped it. The world just watched, waiting. The first step the ramp lowered. A figure walked out. Not Rhea. A child. Maybe 12 years old. Human-looking, but different. Eyes too sharp. Skin that shimmered slightly in the sun. She held something tightly in her hand. One single glove, black and old. The girl who didn't blink, General Mako, was older now, his hair mostly gray. He arrived by shuttle with a small team. Doctors, guards, scientists. But when he stepped forward, the girl looked straight at him and said, with a calm, clear voice, "I was told to find the one who never lost a war, but never wanted to fight one either." Mako nodded slowly. "You found him." She handed him the glove. She said, "If this comes back, then she doesn't need it anymore." "Who are you?" "I don't have one." "Not. Like yours? Then what are you?" She looked up at the stars. "A bridge." The story she told in a quiet room, the girl spoke for hours. About what she saw beyond the edge. About what watched from the cold. Places about Rhea, how she met them, and how she didn't fight them. She answered them. Rhea had passed the second test, but she couldn't return the same. So she sent her a child born of Earth. And something else. The bridge between worlds. The girl didn't eat, didn't sleep. She simply moved through cities, schools, forests, watching, learning, not judging. One night a teacher asked her, "Why are you here?" She answered, "To see if your peace is real." When no one's watching anymore. Strange powers. Birds followed her. Dogs never barked near her. Machines reacted strangely. Water curved around her fingers. Light bent around her hands. Some said she could speak without words. Was she human? Was she weapon? Or was she warning? Whispers of a return. One night, small campfire burned near Juno Valley. The girl sat alone, and a voice not heard through ears echoed in the minds of those near. She is still out there. She watches. She waits. The gloves are gone, but her hands still shape what comes next. And then the fire turned blue and vanished. Final scene. Years later, the girl, now older, stood before the United Planets Council. Not as a leader, not as a fighter, but as something new, she said. Just one sentence. You were afraid of what peace would cost, but you never asked what it could create. Then she opened her hand. Light poured out. A map appeared, not of the galaxy, but of everything beyond it. New stars, new threats. The council sat in silence. Finally, someone whispered, "And what's out there?" She smiled softly. The real test. The glove was never the weapon. They always thought the glove was the secret, the source of power, the thing that turned humans from peacekeepers into something else. But the truth. The glove was just a signal, a symbol. The real weapon was something much older and much harder to control. The day the glove was buried, day ceremony was held on the old moon base. Rhea's black glove, worn and cracked, was placed in a clear case, not as a trophy, not as a weapon, but as a warning. People from across the galaxy came to see it. Many stared with awe, some with fear. One alien leader whispered, "This small thing burned fleets." Another corrected him, "No, she did." The girl walks alone. She had taken no name. The people simply called her the Bridge. She walked from city to city, colony to colony, not as a hero, not as a leader, as a listener. She didn't carry weapons, but wherever she went, fighting stopped. One time, two rival mining factions prepared for war. They met under her gaze. 15 minutes later, they signed a trade agreement and burned their weapons. People began to whisper, "She doesn't need to fight. She makes you feel what war costs." A new threat awakens deep, beyond the old mapped galaxy. Something stirred. Not machines, not monsters. Something silent. A star disappeared. Then a planet. No sound, no attack, just nothing left behind. Earths. New long-range scans picked up static in those regions. The signal carried a faint message: those who fail peace will fail existence. The forgotten scientist in a hidden lab on Mars. A man named Dr. Valen studied old Union files. He had been one of the first to test the gloves he knew there. Secret, the glove didn't give strength. It focused it. It triggered something already inside the human mind. Ancient code, buried deep. A part of the brain that only wakes when peace is taken too far, he called it. The echo circuit. It was in all humans, but only one had ever activated it without dying, Rhea. The training begins back on Earth. A small school opened. It didn't teach math or history. It taught listening, judgment, holding your anger like a blade you choose not to draw. The girl, the bridge, selected only 5 students. All had once been violent. All had seen war, but she believed in one truth: the best peacekeepers are those who remember what war costs. The test returns one night. An old warning beacon flashed again. Only once it wasn't an attack. It was, an invitation. Coordinates appeared, far outside known space. But this time, they weren't sent to Rhea. They were sent to Earth's Council. And the message said, now your kind must answer together. Not one warrior, but many. Show us if peace is truly your path, or just your pause. The glove, reactivatus glove in the glass case, pulsed once, then twice. Then turned to ash. No explosion, no damage. Just gone. In the moment it vanished. Every satellite on Earth turned toward the stars. Something massive had entered. Real space. But it wasn't a ship. It was a mind. A presence so vast, it bent light itself. The stars dimmed, and every person on Earth heard one word in their own language speak. Final scene in an open field. The bridge knelt down and touched the soil. The wind swirled. Fireflies hovered around her hand behind her. The 5 students stood in silence. Each wore a simple band, not gloves. Just cloth, the girl whispered. The glove was never the weapon. It only reminded us that peace is earned, not given. She stood up. Her eyes glowed faintly, not with power. With memory, the stars above shimmered again. Something old and dangerous waited for Earth's answer. The galaxy had waited. For years, Earth had been silent. No invasions, no demands, only peace. But now, something had changed. The sky bent. The stars whispered. A question had been asked by something ancient and powerful. Is peace your path? Just your pause? Earth had only one chance to answer. The council gathers. The room was quiet. Not because of fear, but because every single person there, human, alien, hybrid, knew the truth. This time, words would not be enough. They looked to the bridge, still nameless, still calm. She nodded once, and let Earth speak together. 5 students stepped forward. Behind them stood Rhea's old allies, scientists, diplomats, soldiers, not with weapons, with witnesses. The decision had already been made. They would not fight. They would respond, the great sending using Earth's last experimental communication array, the Deep Arc Core. The message began. A single signal sent into dark space, but it didn't carry a weapon, a code, or a challenge. It carried memories, billions of them, from soldiers who held dying friends, from children who lost homes, from leaders who signed peace because they had no other choice, pain, regret, hope, the full weight of humanity's journey broadcast into the stars. No. Reply. 1 day passed, then 2, then 10. No answer. The sky stayed silent. The people waited. Was this failure? Or had the galaxy simply turned away? Then the sky cried. Didn't start with noise. It started with light. A thin beam cut through the night sky. Not fire, not metal, not war. A voice, but not one made of sound. It came directly into every living mind. You remembered. Not victory, not pride, but loss. You gave us pain without hate. You gave us strength without fear. You passed. The unseen gate point in space, dead and dark for centuries, opened, not a wormhole, not a portal, something else, a fold in reality, and on the other side, another galaxy. One no map had shown, one no traveler had returned from, until now, the return of Rhea from the gate. Ship emerged. Old markings, old scars, but alive the whisper had returned. The crew was missing, but Rhea stood at the front, alive. Changed. She stepped onto Earth's soil and said only one sentence. You answered better than I ever could. What she saw walked through cities filled with peace. She saw once hardened soldiers planting gardens, former enemies teaching, children, aliens praying in human temples, and humans listening in silence to stories from other worlds. Earth had not become soft. It had become stronger than war. The final choice that night. The bridge and Rhea stood together. Two paths. One who had left Earth, one who had watched over it. And one question remained. Do we go through the gate? Rhea looked at the 5 students, now leaders in their own way. She asked them, do you want to bring Earth to the stars? Or bring the stars to Earth? The youngest of them smiled and said, why not both? The voice returned one last time. The ancient voice returned, older than suns, yet patient. You are not peacekeepers. You are peacecrafters, a new kind. Of force we welcome you. But beware, not all who live in peace understand its cost. Will you teach them? Rhea placed her hand on the ground. The bridge placed her hand over Rhea's. Together they said, we already are. Final scene, the gate stays open. Not for conquest, not for control, but for learning. Earth becomes a bridge, not just between worlds, but between past and future. And above it all, carved into the stars by light, a single phrase appears in every language ever spoken. They were quiet until one took off the gloves. And then they taught the stars how to listen.